You could do it. You are live. We are live. It is it's actually a nice Saturday here in New Jersey. How is it in Canada where you are, Mark?
Today in Canada is Remembrance Day. So,
It's Veterans Day here too.
exactly, yes. So it's pretty quiet up here as well. I live next to a meadow, and there's not a whole lot of traffic around here,
You
so
have to
it's
have the
pretty
jersey.
peaceful. Yeah,
Mark, can you hear me?
I can totally hear you.
I can't hear. Hey, can you hear me, Mark?
I can totally hear you.
Okay, cool. So, how do you feel about your book coming out in a couple weeks, the Chronicles of the Great Neblinski? You're gonna have to help me with some of the words and the names, because I'm pretty sure that I'm fucking them up when I read it.
That was good. It's the Chronicles of the Great Blinsky, and
Okay.
this is the first book in a trilogy. It's called Gnome Garone, because
So, how do you say it?
Gnome
Gnome. Okay.
Garone.
Gnome Garone.
Yeah, it's kind of like homegrown, right? Or gnome grown because there's
Mhm.
gnomes in the story. That guy right there, him, he's actually a gnome, but he doesn't know it. He thinks he's a gnome. Well, you got to read the story to get that kind of. Here he is again. You
Well,
ready for
thank you
this?
for the preface because I definitely did not know that gnomes and gnomes are different things.
Yeah, I thought that would be the same thing too.
So thank you for the preface for that.
All good.
Um,
Good.
so this is kind of, I have been reading it and I have been it is a trippy read. It's
Thanks.
definitely trippy.
It's very.
Before we get into it, what marijuana are you going to indulge and participate with today?
Oh, I'm way ahead of you. I got.
You what?
I'm way ahead of you. Here you go. I got this stuff right here. This is called. Good God, what was it called? Chem Dog. Chem Dog. It's called. And
Chem dog? I've never heard of
yeah, so
that.
Interesting.
it's an indica, and
Mm.
so here. I got this really cool thing from my buddy online. He makes these awesome rolling trays, and I got some of that Chem Dog all ready to
Oh, that's
go.
a really cool tray.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about smoking indica while reading? I feel like the two aren't a good combination for me.
I think for me with indica, it depends on what kind of indica I'm smoking, and I guess it depends on like my state. Like if
Mm,
I've had bad insomnia for a few days or a week or two, I'm definitely not going to be able to smoke indica and read.
mm-hmm.
Um, I prefer a hybrid
Yeah.
when I read or sativa, so I could just like kind of like stay focused.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
sativa.
when I
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
so when I was
Me
reading
too.
this book, the first strand I paired it with was the
Mhm.
Gary Payton strand.
I like that.
Yeah,
I love the apple fritter.
yeah.
That was it for me. Yeah.
The what?
The apple fritter and the animal mints.
Yeah, the animal mints. I haven't tried the animal mints yet, but yeah, I tried the Gary Payton when I was reading this,
So
and
these are sativas.
these are strands. Well, Gary Payton is a basketball player, but he has a strand named after him, so it's called the Gary Payton. And it's like a really sociable type of, kind of get you kind of giddy. So that's why I thought it was like really trippy when I was reading it. And I just got Happy Hour Summer Melon, which we're actually about to use right now.
Mm.
And yeah, that's what I've been using. And we're gonna open this Sour Patch Kids.
Ooh, that's a hybrid as
Yes,
well.
yes.
And what about the summer melon happy hour?
Also a hybrid.
Okay.
Yeah, but I tried to say, I was like, oh, let me see if I could read something with an indica, and I tried this thing called Blue Skits, and it had me on my ass. Like I didn't even know I fell asleep. I woke up like totally discombobulated, like, oh my God, it's the next day.
I'm glad you rested. Didn't you say like your insomnia was bothering you
Yeah,
before?
it was bothering me really much a lot. So, but now I'm okay, at least for right now. But
Yeah,
yeah,
good. It did what it was supposed to do.
yeah. So let's get into this trippy ass book. This book is so trippy. Okay, so can you take us the makings of this book? Because I kind of feel like in certain passages I was reading, it kind of felt kind of like an out of body experience. Like I felt like I was outside of time.
Well, it kind of was. Uh, this whole story is based on a Dungeons and Dragons game that I played with these guys in the 1980s, and it came into my life that game at a time where I was really thinking about becoming a career criminal. Because back up a little, back up a little more, and you find out why. Because I grew up in a housing project, and despite all the things they would do, I seemed to get a break simply because of my address. So when I met these guys, they go, come smoke weed, man, and play this game with us. All right, I'll get with you. So all these guys were hilarious, and we played that game for 3 years, and it was a really good time. We had so much fun. It was so not Dungeons and Dragons classically. It was strange. And I thought our interactions and the adventures that we went on were the recording the story. And I elaborate a little bit, you know, you gotta tell a story. You gotta flow. Because there were some nights we did stupid things. I muted those out. Basically, everything is linked to that 3 year period. Yeah. So, and those guys a crime and changed my address, all this address, and it was not. That's where I started some art just behind me. These are my book covers. So because of those guys, I started to realize that I had an avenue to start selling. I was an artist for one. And during that time, I wrote this book with a pen on paper, the first 5 chapters, and I lost it. This was important. The whole thing was good. So a couple of years later, I wrote it again with a pen, and I lost it again. The first 5 chapters. So I put it away. And sorry.
It's okay.
During a rock period, when I was living in the bush, I started to type this thing. I was on a farm, and I bought myself into this blog, and I spent 9 months writing this epic fantasy about weed. And I was on weed the whole time. And yeah, there you go. It's great. I think I laugh when I
It's pretty funny and trippy. I mean, who were like the influences that created these characters? Like, are these people are the characters inspired by people in your real life or people that you've met, or they're just,
That's a good question. Um, so basically, each of the main characters, they represent the guys that I played those Dungeons and Dragons in my mid and those characters are the characters they play in that game. And there's another guy in my book. I dedicate my book. And there's another guy in the book, and he was the dungeon. And he didn't smoke. He just thought we were married. He sat there and laughed. I ran this crazy game. Yeah. Those characters, the main characters, are based on basically what they had an idea of their character to be. And again, I had to elaborate because I wrote the whole story thinking that it would make a good movie. And I watched the movie play out in my head. I was counting these keys and make this story on paper or on computer. So that's how that happened. And
that's I don't. So you was writing the book, writing it like it was a movie. That makes a lot of sense, and it kind of wanted me to ask you, why don't you have, or why won't you be having an audio version of the book? Because I feel like now that they're explaining it, I feel like your book will be amazing as an audio.
it would be really unless maybe if AI was a voice some of the because my character with very distinct accents that I write out as it's you say it that way. Use guys. That would be this guy. So that's how he voices himself. This guy. He's a giant. There he is.
For everybody who's not watching us on YouTube, Mark has showed us one of the characters. Now, did you make that yourself, or did you have someone make it for you?
No, I make these. I'm trying to give you the. There you go. That's his back.
That's a lot of details.
Yeah.
Yeah. He loves everybody. This guy. He loves everybody. Now this character. This is Muskie Rat. And one of my favorite characters in 1980 movies is Eddie Murphy as what was his character's name? From the island of Sin. Johnny Wishbone. Yes. He was so awesome. So I thought, man, what if Eddie Murphy played Brighton? What character would how could I match him and really get a character people would love? So this guy's a rap power in, and he is one of the main characters, and he's based on several people I know. He's got certain his accents. I grew up near some island. Yeah. So
Was it a moose? Yeah.
Sorry, you want me to move?
No, she was saying, is it a moose?
No, he's not. He's like a chap. You know what that is, Cap?
Oh yeah, like the big rat.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. He's like one of those. Yeah, but he
Yeah, and they're very chill. So it makes sense that he's a Rastafarian.
That's so he's one of the main heroes. And I don't remember those episodes like they have. That I skull. Oh, that's not true. I used them. So this is an elf, one of the elves.
You created all of these?
Well, inspired by that I played that crazy game with.
I like your sculptures.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, man, I got really high question, man. I got the digress. There we go.
Okay.
Giver.
Now, again, I say thank you for giving us like this intro to the book before you actually dive into the book, because I think that is needed because I wasn't, I went in blind, so I don't know what I'm going to read, and having that background information is definitely helpful. I wish more authors did it. Cause like it kind of confusing when you like reading a fantasy and it's like someone dropping you off in the middle of a world and you have to like put everything together.
Yeah.
And depending on the writing, you either get discouraged or it could be fun. It depends.
I'm hoping.
Mhm.
I'm hoping everybody that does book, except for one woman who was really mad. Anyway, everybody else gave like 5 stars, and that was before the latest. So my publisher has a great editing team, and we cleaned that story up. Really well. So it's a fun read. I'm very confident. If you give it a chance, it won't take long for you to be really interested.
Would you like to read a passage from your book?
Oh man, I am going to be reading them. What are you doing, man? You read a passage. Oh, jeez, I can't find my book. I had one right here. Oh, it's right beside me.
Okay.
All right, here.
Okay, go ahead. You go ahead.
Let me see what I
Because
can.
you know why I want you to read it? Because I want to hear how you pronounce some of these words.
Okay. I've never done this.
Pick any page. It doesn't have to be the first page. It can be any page you want.
I'm looking for that'll give you a good idea. Here you go. How about right at the beginning? Yeah, so. No, I can't do it. Totally high. I'm not. I can't do words. Wow.
Okay.
Have I got a story for you?
I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you.
Suspense, and let's not forget chutzpah. What is chutzpah, you ask? Allow me to explain. Chutzpah is that energy that come out of nowhere. It can be really weak, powerful, depending on who is controlling. The humans call it magic. The elves call it elf. The dwarves call it. Well, you get the picture. Anyway, long ago, the world was a nice place to be in. My people, the Gnomes, as opposed to our distant cousins, the Gnomes, lived in an enormous city, made of precious metals and stones. This wonderful city was called Sensimillia. That's why I lived in Dorey, by the way. How's that? Are you still there?
Yeah, that's the thing. Are you done? Okay, just give us a little bit more. Okay. So the city is called Sensimillia. Okay.
Yeah. So the strain of weed. There might be around actually. It's called Sensimilla. So the Sensimilla. Anyway, turn that into Sensimilla, the city of the Gnomes.
So, what type of herb is the sinsemilla herb?
I don't
I
know.
don't
Smoked it back in the 80s. Awesome. Pretty good. I was like, okay, that's a great name for a city of gnomes and grow pot. Underground. Pot was illegal in Canada back then. So all the pot was underground, it was peak. Yeah. So the gnomo had to live underground. He had to hide from the evil. That's that. Yeah.
That's
But
really
your
cool.
question, if I can get all of my characters in my books, my stories, are based on people I know, except my bad guy. My bad guys anybody. If anything, they're based on because I just met all the bad guys. Notice this. Yeah, if you read my story, you see it.
All the bad guys what?
The bad guys.
Based on him.
I just pulled out of like kind of thing. This is how I make the bag. Okay. This person or thing is going to do really bad stuff to people. That's the base. Now I got to figure out why he wants to. And that can't be either. And then it's branches from there. I'll split a little twerk and personality, and there he is. I don't really concentrate on personality too much for my bad guys. I like to make the guys the larger than life. This is a story. It's not a story about what you might think it. It's more of a story of. It really is a story of friendship.
I heat this up.
It's about a bunch of people who were really different from each other, coming together and facing like the ultimate bad guy. Yeah. That's kind of it. So it's a misfit crew, like a motley crew. You'd never expect these guys to turn out to be heroic. Yeah. And I make up all my. So I get all crazy fun. And when you're in the break, every time I introduce a new crazy monster, I do this thing called Wild Yet. Now, in Canada, back in the 80s, on our national station, the CBC, they used to have these educational pins, and some of them were wild pins. And if you're Canadian, you probably got an idea of you remember them. So I put those in the book. And it's the loon or the wolf. It's the troll and the other monster. Yeah.
I know that you said that this book is based on Dungeons and Dragons that you play with your friends.
Yeah.
Are there any other video games you play?
Oh, the one I play the most. Fallout 4, like that one. Yeah, I play that on highest difficulty. Yeah, I get killed one. And I like a lot of. You probably don't know ones I played. Warhammer 40 games. These are strategic games where you have to move that kind of stuff. Yeah. The only first person games I can So, is the follow game.
Are there any other authors or books that you like to read that you find to be enjoyable and entertaining?
All kinds. Wow. Yeah.
Who are some of your favorite authors and your favorite books? And what are you reading now?
Well, I'm reading my own. I'm in the middle editing book two, which will launch next, and then right behind book three. So while I'm editing two, well, it's gone to edit. It'll come back to me, and I'll have to go okay the change. But while that's happening, I'm polishing up three, getting it ready for the editor. So that book will launch next year.
Okay.
Buy my.
Now
here's a really cool. If you buy my, I gotta get up and get.
Okay.
There we go. You're gonna like this. Oh man, I forgot to put this draw right. Okay, so if you buy my book, you read it. You follow me on Twitter. Save your receipt on my passport. And you join a contest. And if you're following me, I'll message you a question every day, 7 days. Everyone will get and the person with the 7 days. This is a pipe.
What?
Oh wow.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
What is this creature? I can't tell.
Yo,
You see this bump?
Oh.
What you do is you put a wick in there, and then you light it. And then there's the bowl. So the wick is coming up like this, and into the bowl. This is antler. Deer antler. This is chamois horn. It's a wild goat from Bavaria. Yeah. And the rest is stone. That's
So what?
stone.
Okay.
yeah. So I shipped that to you. Free.
Oh my goodness. That is so trippy.
Want to see it again?
I don't know how I would react if I went to someone's home and it was like, yo, let's smoke this bong I got.
Yeah, I know.
And they pull it out. I'd be like, what the fuck is that?
It sets like that. It's hard because the camera's down. Yeah. It has a wood and it sets flat again like that. Well, I'm trying to move it with the camera. Yeah. So it'll make a and it's fully functional. I made a lot of them. This is on Twitter, and I take commission. Although my studio is right now, I don't have any speed out there, and my tools are making other metals. When they get really, you can't do detail like things over there. What I just showed you. These guys here, they're made of a pulp.
Made of what?
That's my main character. I thought his voice earlier when I read the few. And they find crazy.
That's
the dark blue mushrooms, and you'll see that these guys have no idea. He's got one too. Hold on. There we go.
Do the mushrooms have any significance in the story?
Oh God, most of that story. Oh, I don't.
Yes, because Sierra hasn't read the book yet.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of frustrating confusion happening in the pages of that book. Now, that happens a lot.
Okay. And is it for like powers or knowledge
Well, for this guy,
or leisure?
it's the only way he's able to get himself to go forward because he's terrified. He's only 12 inches. Yeah, so a football.
Yeah.
This guy is about 3.5 feet tall.
Okay.
Now she, the elf, she is about 5 feet tall.
Okay.
This guy, oh, he's 12 feet tall.
Oh my. Okay.
That's imaging. This is the hill. Yeah.
So the main character.
Sorry?
So the main character ingests the shrooms to get courage to do what he has to do.
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Now,
all
I have a question. You said the main character, which let me know if I'm saying this right. Severe Neblinski.
Smurf.
Swerve. Okay, Swerve
Smurf.
Neblinski.
Is
You
Smurf.
said that you
Like a
said
Smurf.
yeah, like a Smurf. Okay, I get it now.
Mhm.
So you said that he's scared.
Of course he is. So he's
Well, the way you have him talking, when he, comes across, the first time, and he calls Smurf, and he tells them like, about the great harvest, right?
yeah.
He was kind of like talking smack.
No,
He was kind of like holding his own. He didn't seem like he was really scared.
no, he wasn't. He was conscious in a dream. He didn't even believe until he woke up with the owl. But now we're telling the story. We're giving too much. We got to stop that. People want to read that. You don't want to give too much.
Okay.
Yeah. I tell you this story. I try to hit on a lot of social, and I try to use comedy and sound to bring these to the surface.
I was
You get-
wondering if this book was like that. Like if it's like jokeful in some ways.
Yeah.
I feel like I would like it.
Yeah.
I hope you do.
Do you have a physical copy?
No, I only have an ebook, but I can't share it.
Okay, no problem. When is it released?
November 28th.
Okay.
The only way you can get this book
Yeah.
is if it's published
You want to put the headphones on?
through Sam's Publishing.
Okay, so Mark, someone in the comments is saying that there's a lot of static when you talk.
Static when I talk.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I think your microphone is hearing him because every time he speaks, your mic thing moves.
Okay.
So that might be causing.
One
some-
second. Try something.
This is huh? This is good. What is that? Is that the Sour Pouch can? One is the Sour Pouch. It tastes crazy. Yeah, one is Sour Pouch and the other one is Sour Diesel.
Oh wait, no, you changed it.
Yeah.
The first one.
It's the first one was
I think that was the Sour Patch.
yeah, and that's the Sour Diesel.
Awesome. I think that's because it's like good quality. And it's the oil.
How's that?
Things that I've tried to taste were like low quality.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. You can hear
Okay,
me.
great.
All right, we're gonna see. I mean, he can still hear you.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, so he can
I
still hear
just
you.
need to adjust my volumes here.
Or
Captions.
where's my caption?
Excuse me.
How's that? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yay!
I'm gonna see if someone in the comments said anything because that's how I was aware. Because it's live on YouTube. Thank you for checking out us on YouTube and letting us know about the sound and everything. But you sound okay to me right now.
Sorry.
I, I said you sound okay to me right now.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
I'm feeling okay.
You sound like you feel more than okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so how are people in the book or cannabis community reacting to your upcoming release?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Have you heard any feedback or have you talked to people about, how they feel about the upcoming release of your book? Are they excited?
Yeah, I think so. I've got more contestants for my pipe giveaway this year than
Okay.
I have in previous years. When I first started out, uh, this book was self-published, and the editing job was not so great. And but I didn't even notice this. I was new to the industry, and I had never written a book before in my life, except for 5 chapters twice. I was just winging it. So that was the first issue. And the people that have that all tell me that they're glad they have it because most of those guys, I signed those books for them. So those things are going to be worth some money one day. I'm hoping. Uh, but then I got it published through another publishing company, and it didn't work out between me and them. So the contract was I canceled the contract, and I was picked up by an awesome Canadian publishing company only weeks after, and Sands Publishing in Ontario. It's the same province I live in, so it's nice to be close. And we both have the same laws that we have to abide by. So legalities are really easy between the two of us, and it, I'm really happy with these guys. Yeah, I really am. They're always ready to talk to me, and the work that was done on my first book. So, this one is about to launch. The work that was done with the editor and myself, uh, it, it really made the whole story shine better. It just really did. Uh, I read it afterwards. I went through the whole hard copy, and I was really happy with it. It's
Were there
one
were
of my
there were there
favorite books.
parts of the book were there parts of the book where you had to sort of explain yourself or explain what your characters are doing to the editor because the editor wasn't aware or wasn't connecting with what you was trying to come across with?
Oh, at first, yes, and no diss to her, you know. Sorry, I'm just turning it up so I can hear you better. No diss to her because like this book is weird. It's really weird. Uh, I can imagine that everyone that starts to read it will go, "Holy mackerel, this is weird." And but if you keep going, it's just a weird story. How like this? No, I'm not going to say that. Uh, yeah, it is a story about people. Again, a story about people who are really different from each other, and yet they find a connection, and and they realize there's a lot of injustices happening, and on their magical journey, trying to save the world, they encounter these injustices that are not just localized. It's like societal, like entire society is suffering in one way or another from these injustices, or even just pieces of the society suffering injustices because of the rest of society. The whole interturmoil and conflict and that sort of thing that comes with multiculturalism. That, unfortunately, but these guys find a way to bring all those people together.
And do you think that's a more Do you consider that like a utopia, a fantasy utopia? Do you think it's a tangible solution for humans, or do you think that can
Hmm.
only exist in fantasy?
So I'll be 59 in a couple of weeks, and if I've learned one thing, it's don't think about that shit. It's this is no longer my world. It's your world. Your generation. It's your world now. I was powerless to do anything to change it until now. Read my book.
What are you drinking? Is regular coffee or tea?
Right now, I'm drinking green tea.
Okay.
Yeah, I only drink one cup of coffee a day, and it's not really a big cup, but it's espresso. And
Okay.
yeah,
One or
and then
one or two shots.
of espresso. Well, it's not really espresso. Okay, over in I went to Europe a couple times, and in Italy, I discovered this crazy, crazy coffee that is just so good. And it's so good that I brought a couple bricks home with me, thinking I'd never find it in Canada. And like a year later, I found it. It was on the shelves in this grocery store I was shopping anyway. Um, and I put this in this little 1 cup percolator that, again, I brought back from Europe, thinking I couldn't find one over here. And so it's just about a half a cup. Pardon me, half a cup of like really dark coffee, and then I'll drop about a half a teaspoon of sugar in there, and a dollop of milk, and I'm good. I'll sip on that until it's done, and then in the afternoon I'll have like green tea. Pretty much that's it. Yeah, and I drink a lot of water with That's what this was. I drink a lot of water. I like to just put lime juice and lemon juice in there. When I'm writing, I have to have a cold drink nearby because I smoke weed when I'm writing, and if I start a coughing fit, I want to have a cool throat, because sometimes you're right in the middle. Sometimes I'm right in the middle of a really awesome moment. Damn, I need a toke. and like ruins everything. So I don't want the toke to ruin it. I want to use that toke to keep me on this sort of a flow, and where that story keeps just sort of rolling out of me. And that's how it kind of comes. It's like a waterfall, just and I'm typing away, and then I read it and pull pieces out of it. The process.
You're just as animated as your characters.
What?
I say you are just as animated as your characters.
Awesome, thank you.
Do
Yeah.
you see yourself staying in the sci-fi fantasy genre? Would you ever try like a mystery or fantasy bending book, maybe fantasy mystery, fantasy horror?
Well, these 3 books that I just wrote are all of those, and more. I tried to add everything from every genre. I think there's like, here are the 2 genres that are not in my book. Sorry, 3: historic fiction, romance, and children's. Everything else, all other genres, are in my book. There's certainly mysteries to be solved. Big one too. There's drama. Okay, so one of my favorite directors is Taika Waititi. He has this thing where he said it, I'll paraphrase. He likes to make people laugh and cry, sometimes in the same paragraph, sometimes in the same scene. And I thought that's kind of cool. And if you watch his movies, they're like that. He'll mess with your heart. He'll bring you up and then throw you down and bring you right back up again. And it's like a roller coaster or a trampoline. It makes you run the gambit of different emotions. Mainly, it's a comedy. So I have a formula that I basically use when I write comedy, and it's all based on a lot of inspiration for the style comes from old Mel Brooks movies, um, and Seinfeld episodes, and individual comedians. Like again, Muskie Ratlove is so Eddie Murphy. Like, man, that guy was born to play that role. Well, I devised this character's persona, thinking that Eddie Murphy would play that role one day, and yeah, I'm so high.
What would you say is the worst strand of weed? Or not even, it may not be the worst, but a strand that you just don't like, that you stay away from.
um, I I haven't had something like that. I can't remember the last time I had anything that I was just like, man, this is garbage. Uh, I don't like coughing, and I do notice that some growers, suppliers, whatever you call them, some companies, their weed is a bit dry. So when you go to smoke it, you're hacking your lungs out. Whereas another type it's still got some stickiness to it, and when it's got that stickiness to it, it doesn't burn as hot, I don't think, and it's
Yes,
just
that's exactly why I like vaping, because I don't like coughing, really. If
yeah,
I can
yeah.
avoid coughing, I don't want to cough when I smoke weed. So I'd rather
Hate
vape
that,
because the
man.
oil is sticky and
It's the worst.
and
Yeah.
you get all of the cannabinoids, all of it. So I definitely relate. No, what? Coughing is not cool.
You see,
Especially like one of those coughs where like you're coughing, but you're getting higher every time you cough, and you can't stop coughing because it's getting you higher.
so those are the covers of my books back there. See, you'll see that's book two over. Sorry, here. I'm watching the
I like
screen.
that. I like that cover. It's really cool. It's really
He's
funky.
he's one of the main characters, the guy in the front there. That book is called Monsters. Book two, Monsters, and the title for book three is The Great Neblinski. So it's the Chronicles of the Great Neblinski, book three, The Great Neblinski. Now it's on my. Oh, you asked me about writing books, right? And I mentioned that all of those genres were in my story. I After this trilogy, I started to write the origin stories of these characters, and one they're very dark. The two of the characters have a very very dark beginning, um, and it's really difficult to say what that beginning is without giving away too much. But those two of the six novels that I'm working on right now, writing. Well, not at the moment because I'm doing this trilogy, finishing this off. Then I'll get back into these six and finish them off. But what they are is they're sort of additions to this book, or to my book, to this story. So all of the characters, you'll see them on the back there. Him and him and him. So those are all other. Oh, and there you go. That's you know who, right there. That's Muskie Rattler.
Those are all of the characters, like
Well,
silhouetted.
yeah, pretty much, pretty much. I'll tell you the biggest challenge for me writing these books was to try and create female characters that would appeal to you guys, right? Because I'm not a female, I can't think like that. I just can't. So those female characters I based on women I met who I really respected and liked, and or, right? Just friends and so on. And I put them all together into my female characters. And then I split them apart and made two of them there. And that's how I made the girls. Now, every time I write a character, I see a specific actor or a group of actors I know who could play within this box. I see them voicing it. So a lot of my characters are very specific. Like, for instance, Grar. Let me show you. Okay, so this guy back here, over here, he looks like a bad guy, right? He looks like a bad guy. Well, he looks like a bad guy, but the story here is about don't judge a book by the cover. But that guy, Grar, oh man, I totally digressed, didn't I? He was based, his voice, I always thought about this. You know this actor, Keith David?
I'm not sure. I usually know faces better than names.
Well, he's just a brilliant voice actor. And I mean, he's a brilliant actor. Everything he's ever been in has been just amazing. And he's been amazing in it. So I've always thought of his voice. So it doesn't matter. It's hard to explain. He will say something better this way than he'll say it that way. So I have to always keep that in mind while I'm voicing my characters in the narrative, so that you don't lose track of him. Every time he speaks, I'm hoping I really tried hard to keep this going, and it was difficult and challenging, but every time he speaks, every line, keep that in mind. Is this Keith David? He's voicing that. And you'll if you just watch a movie of him or an interview or something, you'll know who he is, and you'll be able to apply his voice to it. And
Okay,
Grar
so
is that character.
right, you're trying to make Grar's like tone of voice very distinctive.
Precisely. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he's a very, very important character, and his well, they all are, but he especially has a challenge to overcome that the rest of them don't even know about. And I can't tell you any more about that. Yeah, but the other 6 books, I was talking about those other 6 books. The first one is I call them not anything of the great Neblinski. They each have their own title, but the first one is called the Neblinski Code. And that's about this guy. Where is he? Above my finger. The blue guy. That's about his origins. Then I have 50 Shades of Green. And that's about Grar. And then I have, what is it next is? Oh, yeah, The Farce Awakens. And that's about that Sasquatch guy. And then Musky Ratlove, the Rastafarian, his is The Phantom Anus. And then the last one is called Enter the Drag Queen.
Enter the Drag Queen.
Oh, yes. You know, like the old Bruce Lee movie, Enter the Dragon.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds funny. It could be
I like to be
interesting.
really inclusive in my stories. I imagine a vast assortment of personalities and ethnicities representing these characters in a movie. It has to be that way because the whole book is a story about tolerance and acceptance, and even in the face of absolute terror, still being tolerant and accepting. And it was my own personal investigation and sort of the human spirit over my lifetime. What I perceived, people just were really just all the same. Really. So, for instance, this guy and this guy. Oh, I got to show you my first sculpture of this guy. You'll like him. Those two guys become best friends. And how different can you be? Because that first guy I showed you is no bigger than the other guy's toe. But they become best friends. And they get into antics. And, yeah. So those books. Now, the Farce Awakens, that's about that Sasquatch, and there's all kinds of funny in that. But those first two books, there's no funny in them at all. That first one is a drama fantasy. It really is. Really dark one, too. And then the second one is even darker. That's a horror. The second one, the 50 Shades of Green, that's a horror story. And then you get funny again. There's a whole book of funny. Sorry I made you cry. Now have a couple laughs. There's your book of funny. And then, oh, look, I got another book of funny. Oh, there you go. And then at the end, I thought, I have this buddy online. And a member of the LB, I'm too high, the queer community. And I love him big time. And he's one of my beta readers. And I'm hoping I'll be able to convince him to help me write Enter the Drag Queen. I
absolutely believe you should have someone, sensitivity reader with that, and have people from the community definitely
Oh,
give
yeah.
you be a beta read, because it's important, because
Because
your intention.
I want them to make a movie, right? So
Yeah,
like,
you
it's
want
not
them to
everybody in this movie, so society likes the movie, right?
yeah, you have to have that community embrace,
Right.
you know, you don't
Yeah.
want to offend anybody or hurt anybody's feelings. Yeah, so this is a lot. I mean, I've seen you on social media. You're really connected with other artists. Um, are you gonna have any like book launches in the upcoming, because I know it's a holiday season, so that could be a little rough. But
Well,
are you gonna have any book launches?
yeah, we just talked about that. You're really high, aren't you? So this one here, this is the first one. It will launch on November 28th.
No, I meant like book parties. I'm sorry.
No,
Like events around your book. Okay.
no,
That's what I
nothing
meant.
like that. Nothing like that. I'm in the process of editing my promotional video for this. By before the book launches, the video will be ready. At that point, I'll be adding that video to a website, which I have, but I'm not advertising the website because I don't have anything on it yet. I want to put that video on it as the header, and then I'll put all kinds of information about all these characters. I have character profiles for all of them, telling you a little bit about who they are, who their people are, how they differ from everyone else, and that's it. Character profiles, basically. And throughout the books, too, you'll run into things like, just in case you didn't know what an elf is, in my world, which is called Una, in my world, there are three kinds of elves. There are the Doc Elfar, which are the elves that live underground. They're kind of short. And then there's the Sylvain elves. These are the regular elves that live in the forest and frolic and that kind of thing. They're kind of like Tolkien elves, only not as tall. And they can have green or bluey kind of shades to their skin. But the last elves, the Santa's elves, these are the most mysterious elves of all. Wait till you read about them. You're going to love my fairies as well. You're going to love my fairies.
I love a good fairy story.
My fairies are badass when you see my fairies. And you'll see them in your head. But the fairies don't come into play until like book 3. And but they have their own chapters for themselves. You're gonna like them guys. I love them.
So I can imagine people are going to listen to this and they'll be like, "Yo, this sounds so trippy and so funky." You should give everyone your website, all your socials, where they can find you. Drop the date of your book debut again, so people can check it out and pre-order on Barnes and Nobles because that's where I see
That's it.
it.
If
So
you go to Barnes and Noble and just do a search for the Chronicles of the Great Neblinski, you can pre-order the book there. It launches officially on the 28th. On social media, I am JRR Token is at Mark. That's capital MARK, capital E, capital G, capital DOREY, number 1. That's me. That's on Twitter. So if you come to Twitter and you follow me there and you buy my book and save your receipt, and then just come on to one of my tweets and say, I want to be in the contest, I'll put you in the contest. And it closes December 1st. So if you want to win this crazy fight.
and this is a really ridiculous pipe. It looks like something you would see at Comic-Con.
Well, I was a professional sculptor for years. I toured Europe with my sculptures and stuff. And so I also made a lot of stone pipes for a lot of people I love. And but if you want to win that pipe, it's valued at $1,200 Canadian. And I'll send it with a nice pack of a bunch of brass screens and a big roll of wick, so you can light the wick. It looks like an undersea fish, right, with a little angler thing, to attract, that. You know what I'm talking about? You know those fish that have that thing on their head like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it comes out, and there's a little light on the end. It's like a little. Well, that's what I pictured the wick to be. So you're going to stick the wick in the hole, and then it's going to come out like this and point down into the bowl, and you'll light the wick. And then you don't have to hold the light in there, right? So that, you can win that by following me. It closes in December 1st, that contest. So if you want to get on that, you're going to have to tell me right away before December 1st. After that, I give everybody a break, and I need a drink, man. This indica dries me right up. So after that, I give everyone a break, and then on December 15th, the contest begins on Twitter, X. I start by sending everybody a question about my story. And if you answer correctly that question, you get a point. And then the next day, the same thing. Now, throughout 7 days, I do this. Sometimes it's not a question. Sometimes it's find this and show me. This kind of stuff. It's a game, right? So at the end of it, if I have a tie, I have a whole bunch of lots of backup questions and stuff like that to do it all in that day. The tie will be broken that 7th day, and someone will get that pipe. And then, the beginning of January, I will send that pipe to the winner free. Now, hold on. There's even more. If you don't win the pipe, Second prize is an original ink drawing. Oh, man, I didn't bring it over to show you, did I? No, I didn't. Can you give me a second? You want me to get it?
Sure, you can if you want to.
Okay. Give me a second. You girls have a token. I'll just be a second. It's just the other room.
All right, Mark put us on hold, and we're just sitting here, chilling on Saturday, smoking ganja, and Sierra is over here, reading the back of some books.
Oh, the house
Oh, I
flip
just got that. I think that's gonna be good.
looks like it.
Huh?
Seems like it.
I really like historical fiction, so I already. It looks
So
good.
this is an
So,
original.
is
This
it?
one's an original ink drawing.
Oh, wow.
It's called Shroomies.
Shroomies.
Yeah. You see, they're all people, right?
Wow.
So that's second prize. That gets shipped out probably in January as well, if not early February. Third prize is this signed. I'll ship that to you. That's book one. This is a promotional copy. So this is, if you buy the book after the 28th or pre-order it, the cover will be nicer than this. This one here was the one that I was given a bunch of them so that I could give them out to bookstores, social media influencers, this kind of stuff, right? Yeah. So, but I'll have one signed and I'll send it to that person. So I haven't signed it yet because I don't know who won, right? I'm going to dedicate that, in there. Say thanks for buying my book, blah blah blah. Yeah. Now, what's that? That's three, right? Yeah. Fourth prize is an ebook from my publisher. And last prize is a little stone toker that I'll make. I haven't made it yet because I have several color stones that I can work with. And I'll ask that person, what color do you want? And then I'll make it. And basically, even if you just Google it, it's a soapstone joint holder. Put that in there and you'll have a good look at what it is. But that'll be hand carved, and I'll even put the person's initials or something like that into it and sign it. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds really cool. That's so.
Big contest. So the first year I did this with the self-published version, I gave away a dragon pipe, and it was about yay long.
Now that sounds cool.
I put pictures of it up online all the time. I'll send you. Can you insert pictures into your show when you edit it for?
Sure.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll send you some actual photographs of these things. That pipe with the wick, the dragon pipe with the wick lit, and I'll send you pictures of other pipes as well that I made, little stone ones. I can carve anything into them, and I don't do two the same. I'll never do any pipe again. I only do it once, and then don't ask me to do that. Ask me to do something else, kind of thing. Because that person, I promised them they're getting a one of a kind, right? So I'm not going to copy what I just did. I just won't do it. So you get an original every single time. You get an original. I also used to do a lot of antler carvings. That's what I toured Europe with, was my antler carvings. My phone is ringing.
That's okay.
Just one moment. Hello. Hi, I'm online. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, take care. So that's my personal editor who lives with me. Yeah.
Okay.
My best buddy. See, again, when I wrote this book, it was illegal, right? Weed was illegal. And I had kids, and I didn't want my kids to, like, people pointing at my kids saying your dad's a pot smoker, this kind of stuff, right? The stigma that they had to go through. I didn't want them to have that. So I kept it really quiet. And so when I wrote the book and self-published it, I didn't even use my own name. I used J.R.R. Token. And I created that character, that person, J.R.R. Tolkien. I created him as this larger than life, almost superheroic person with his entire life was a bunch of lies, blatant lies. And I made his biography that way. He invented the corgi breed of dog, and he invented water, and he's the king of Australia and this kind of thing, right? And he's the one that wrote the book. And so she was my editor, and we had to have a good name for her. I was J.R.R. Tolkien, so we made her J.K. Rowling. You know,
Oh, okay. A play on
that's
her name.
J.K. Rowling. Yeah, that's her. So in my book, when I first when it was self-published, I got so much cotton love. This is insane. Um, the self-published version, if you look at the credits in the beginning, it'll say that it's edited by J.K. Rowling. It's kind of a cool piece of trivial history.
You have such an interesting life and have so many interesting lessons and wisdom to share. I think people are gonna really be in a surprise with this book. It's again, it's definitely trippy. It's funny. It's a little bit awkward at times with the characters. Like the vulnerability was pretty
Bjorn.
low.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So it's really interesting. So I'm glad that people are going to discover this book.
Mm.
I hope they like it. I can't wait to hear people feedback about it. And yeah, I thank you for having this conversation with us.
Hey, right on. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And I got to get to Canada to get some of that cannabis that you be having because I think you told me something about a strain called Moon something. I forgot, but whatever you
Moby
told
Dick.
me,
I
yeah,
really like
Moby Dick.
that. Yeah,
I
yeah.
have not been able to find it anywhere.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, like it's really good for me when I write because it doesn't make you tired. It puts that sort of jittery to you, and you'll want to do art or something creative. And yeah, that's
Well,
that's the
I'm definitely gonna look for that strand. I'm looking see if I can get it somewhere. Well, thank you for participating and hanging out with us and smoking some weed with us. We're gonna be talking about your gnomes, and Sierra is going to pick up a copy as soon as it's out.
Yes, absolutely.
and join that contest. Just
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Join win that pipe. That'll blow people's mind. That'll blow your mind.
It will be.
Oh, yeah, I got it. It's me. It's mine.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.